What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the very first Rollercoaster Tycoon 3 video on this channel. I finally downloaded Rollercoaster Tycoon 3. I bought a capture card, and I'm recording this. This is actually on my Nintendo Switch. So I'm recording this from my Switch and playing it from there. And so it's a little bit different than playing on PC. It's a little bit wonkier in terms of controls, but I figured it out, I think, for the most part. And yeah, we're starting in this brand new theme park, which is unnamed so far. So if you have if you have something you'd like to name the theme park, leave that in the comments down below. I'll be picking a name, and all of that. So I like to see what people come up with in terms of names. So at the end of this video, you can kind of see what the entrance will look like and get a good idea for that. So I went through a few ideas in terms of trying to figure out what I was going to do with this. This is the very first park I've ever built in this game, or that I actually tried to build one before this. I recorded this, but I never ended up finishing it. I just kind of built a couple of rides and built a few stalls and stuff, and then kind of went and figured this would probably be good for the channel, so abandoned that. And that was also sort of just get used to the controls and building in this game. It's a little bit different than in the first and second games, but a lot of the mechanics actually kind of transfer over for the most part. So I went ahead and just built this little water feature up at the front, and again, trying to get used to the interface here. I accidentally built a fence that goes like 90 feet down into a hole because I didn't know how to do this yet. So we're back into the place where I have to deal with clearance limits again. I'm spoiled with OpenRCT2. I can build stuff wherever I want. In this game, not so much. The clearance limits are back, and you gotta kind of get a little creative at times. So, yeah. This park is gonna have a theme of, like, the colors will be purple and blue. I'm not really... It was just sort of like a random thing where I just was looking at the colors and was like, it looks kind of neat. So it's purple and blue themed. If you have that, helps you in terms of trying to figure out a name for the theme park. Admittedly, there's not a whole lot of customization you can do in terms of like the actual style of the park. Like, you can't make it like a desert themed or a mountainous thing or a jungle or whatever. Like, I think you could. I mean, maybe you could if you really get creative, but for the most part, you get the same template for every park you build, and there's just not a whole lot of variation in terms of that. So hopefully later on I can figure out how to maybe get a little bit more creative with that, but for now it's gonna look like just a whatever grass standard theme park. I don't know. And this episode again is just kind of get used to building in this game and get used to the interface and get used to how all of this works and all of that stuff. So I built a little hot dog and drink stall over here, just to start it off and kind of get used to building. One thing that I did run into trouble with was I realized that the fence, like building fences on this, you can't actually build a fence and a path on the same tile anymore, which you could in both of the old games. You're actually able to build a fence and a path on the same exact tile where they wouldn't overlap or anything. In this game, they've taken that away for whatever reason. Not really sure why, but just something to get used to, I guess. So I did have a little bit of trouble with that in building these entrances for these buildings. This is just typically how I build them. I'm not really sure why. I always have like a little small area up at the front of the building that leads into the main part, and I don't really know why. I just like the way that looks, but whatever. So yeah, if you guys have any tips on how to kind of get through that, let me know. And yeah, so we're moving on to the info kiosk. This part of the video, I really just wanted to kind of get used to. I want to just get the normal stuff out of the way. I wanted to build restrooms and food and drink and souvenir stuff. I wanted to get that sort of that entrance area of the theme park where there's a bunch of buildings and kind of surrounding you, and yeah, I can't think of what the term for that is. There's a not amusement walk. What is that called? I don't know. Main Street. I wanted to build a little Main Street area, and that's sort of what I'm trying to build here. I don't know if I quite captured that. It's not exactly what I was going for, but I might kind of expand it outwards a little bit more, and maybe it'll kind of look more like a Main Street if I do that. But for now, it's just kind of like I wanted to just build restrooms, build a info kiosk, build some souvenir stuff, just in an effort to try and make this a little bit more, you know, just to kind of get that out of the way. And then the next episode, I can jump into rides and jump into whatever I want to do later on. So that was the thought process behind this. And yeah, so restroom, stall, whatever here. I realized that I was like, oh, it's supposed to be a men's and women's specific restroom stall. Now, I don't discriminate, you know, I don't care, whatever, but you know, typically at a theme park, there's a men's and a women's room. So I decided to have like a double entrance. But again, this is where I ran into that issue where fence and pad don't go on the same tile anymore. So yeah, I might have to figure out sort of a solution to get around that. And the last thing was souvenirs. I figured, you know, let's get one of each type of stall in here. That is the most terrifying stall I've ever seen in my life. That guy is so scary, holding up the t-shirts like that. Frontier probably needs to design a new stall, because that's so horrifying. Will haunt my dreams for the next week and a half. But I think the stall ended up looking okay. That's why that's the one thing about the stalls in this game is I like to cover them up with a building just because like they don't look super great in my opinion. A lot of them look really cartoonish and weird and not realistic, so I end up having to design a building to make it look the way it's supposed to, and just kind of hide what the stalls look like, or as much as I can. And yeah, so it's sort of almost like so when I have like multiple stalls inside of a building, it'll be almost like a food court, or if I have like multiple souvenir stalls, it'll be like a little souvenir building, whatever, souvenir store, storefront. And that's sort of the thought process behind designing all these buildings, is just I want to kind of, again, I just want this all to look realistic, and those stalls just look bizarre sometimes. So this is kind of the last thing that I went with in terms of designing the look of this park. This is the last thing that I did in this episode. If you like the Rollercoaster Tycoon 3 videos, let me know in the comments down below what you think I should either name the park, or what you think I should design, what ride should I build. Any suggestions you guys have for me, leave them down in the comments down below. But that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.